Hello everyone, Silverconundrum here. I come to you today with a question. How much debt do you actually owe? I don't mean like, how do I put this? Like national debt type stuff. Well, according to the USDebtClock.org, at the moment that I'm making this video, we are $26.5 trillion in debt. That is $80,000 per citizen. That would be roughly $213,900 per tax-paying citizen. Do you guys understand what that means? Okay. In case you don't, I'm going to break it down for you. So, you take the national debt, divide it by the total number of people that are U.S. citizens in the country. That gives us our $80,000 that we owe. Well, not everybody in the country works. We have a lot of deadbeats here. So, those that actually pay the taxes, we are carrying the burden of all those lazy people that don't work. Now, I'm not talking about the people that want to work and they just can't. I'm talking about those that refuse to work. We all know those people that we're talking about. But those of us that are tax-paying members of society, we are the ones carrying a $214,000 debt over our heads per citizen. Do you really think your dollar is strong enough to carry that kind of load? I don't think so. In fact, I know so. As of right now, the dollar to silver ratio is running $4,093. $4,093. That's just for the United States, people. I mean, give me a freaking break. Every country on the face of the planet is printing money off like toilet paper. I mean, they're printing it at breakneck speeds. There's no way that the dollar, the yen, the euro, the dong, whatever other currency you want to go by, can keep up with the pace of inflation and the printing of the money that these guys are doing. I mean, hell, think about this. Okay, so the gold to silver ratio that comes out of the ground is 8-to-1, right? That's what the average is. The mines in South America, they're shut down to about what, 30-40% roughly? I think that's about right. That's what the article I read yesterday said. So, take this in perspective. If the mines are still shutting down and they're running at limited capacity, supply chains are having issues, the demand for silver is extremely high in the private sector, demand in the industrial sector is running at about 45 to 55%. We have a perfect storm, and not to mention we have high-end investors trying to take all the currency that they can and buy precious metals with it so they can flip it for a profit later on. Follow me so far? So if silver's coming out of the ground at an 8-to-1 ratio and gold is easier to obtain for recycling purposes, because we recycle a lot of gold. Silver, we don't recycle silver, guys. It costs too much money to recycle silver, and it's a disposable metal. So above ground, we kind of dispose of silver at a steady pace. In fact, we dispose of silver at a breakneck speed. I was reading an article in one of those little Facebook posts that I got, and it was in one of my silver groups. It was talking about the disposal of silver in 2020. He was saying the estimated disposal of silver was 25 tons. Now, the 25 tons don't sound like a lot, but we are in a pandemic year. So, if you sit back and think about a pandemic year is 25 tons, how much is actually in a normal year? Because it didn't talk about that. We throw silver away because it's in our phones, it's in our computers. I mean, heck, it's in our vehicles, our pretty much everyday life. We deal with silver, medical supplies, dental supplies, everything. So, as we mine silver and we mine all these other metals, we're using silver for other products, but we're disposing of it and we're not recycling it. So wouldn't it make sense if silver actually had a higher value than what they're saying it does? I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying that it should. I'm just asking the question, would it make sense for it to? Because, I mean, let's be honest. Silver has 1,001 uses. Gold has a right around 10 uses outside. Now, this is outside of jewelry. I mean, they use it in satellites. They use it in computers. They use it for, satellites, computers, dental, jewelry's the biggest one. And there's a few other nanoprocessors they use outside of the computer network. They use it for, I'm trying to think. We use them in some valves in the industrial side for when we use it for cyanide lines. But that's about it. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. But silver, I can name about 40 different things for silver off the top of my head real quick like. And why is it that silver is so beat down, especially as that type of a metal? I mean, think about it. It's kind of a miracle metal in a way. Medical, industrial, financial. It does everything that we need it to do. And it is virtually indestructible like gold. Because gold is indestructible. You cannot destroy gold. And silver is pretty much indestructible as well. You cannot destroy silver unless you take it down to its molecular level. So why are we having so many issues, guys? I went to go buy dog food offline. Inflation's hitting there. I'm paying an extra $5. It don't sound like a lot, but God bless America, it is. An extra $5 for dog food. Last month, we spent $49 plus shipping for my dog's food to have it shipped to the house. When we went to go order it today, so it would be here by Tuesday, same shipping, same schedule, same everything. We get an automated message that says, hey, it's due. Do you want to get it or not? You just click yes, and it sends you the bill, and you pay it. Instead of it being $49 like it always is, it was $54. Well, we were like, that's unusual. Let's go look at that. We clicked on it. They raised the price of food up by $5. When we went to the website and looked at the price of everything, pretty much everything that we buy has gone up in price. So here we go with that inflation thing, guys. You know that whole national debt I was talking about earlier? Our dollar is not sustainable anymore. They're still printing it. Donald Trump just did an executive order about tax cutting. Everybody who pays taxes is not supposed to be paying taxes no more on their paychecks. That's just going to drive our debt through the roof. He's doing it to try to help people. I get it. But in the long run, only one who's going to be paying for that is our children and our grandchildren's children. We're literally enslaving our freaking generational, God, I don't know how to put it. We're enslaving our God-blessing children. They are going to be taxed into oblivion. I've been to countries And I say this, people, and if there's any females on here, and if you're any kind of religious person, cover your ears. I've been to countries where women would sell themselves literally for a meal. It's not funny, guys. It's not even remotely, how do I put this? This is flippin' scary to me. I've been to countries where women would sell you their body for you to buy them dinner. And it doesn't even have to be anything good. McDonald's in some of these countries I've been to is fine dining. Your silver and your precious metals, if you're stacking them, you're doing a great thing, people. Keep it up. Buy what's in your budget. And if I seem like I'm excited about it, as far as like an agitation standpoint, I apologize. Because I have a daughter. And in my heart of hearts, if I ever had to put myself in a position to where I had to do something drastic to prevent her from ever doing what I've seen other females do in other countries, I would do what I have to do as a father. I would hope that we as a country never go to that. But if you don't know your history about the United States and the Great Depression, I highly suggest you read about it. My grandmother taught my wife and I how to can food. So we can. She told me a story about my great-great-grandfather, which would have been her grandfather at the time. What they would do is that he would actually take his boots, his old work boots, and my grandmother, which would be my grandmother's mother, she would wash those boots up. They would cut the soles off of them, and they would wash the leather of the boots. And then what they would do is they would make a soup. They would cut the leather of the boots into strips. Then they would take something called polk salad. It's a wild grass that grows wild in the South. And what they would do with that is they would make a soup out of it. But they would take the leather from his old work shoes that he couldn't wear no more, and they would make a soup out of the shoes. And they would let the leather soften up so they could actually eat it. So they'd have a meat of some sort, a protein, in their bellies. If we're not careful, something that drastic could happen here in the United States. That could happen in your country. It could happen in your area. Venezuela, if you've never been there, women do very, very, very bad things for what they want or what they need to do to feed their children. Men do even worse things just because they can get away with it. The people in power do whatever they can to stay in power. Your precious metals help hedge you and protect you against a lot of that. And you might say, Silverconundrum, you're an idiot. Because if there's no food, your silver can't feed you. And you're absolutely right. But that goes back to something else I said earlier. Canning. If you can can your own food, you don't have to worry about going to a grocery store to buy it. That means if you're canning, that means you're growing a garden. That means if you're growing a garden, you're harvesting. If you're harvesting, that means you have the jars to can. That means you have the knowledge. Prepare yourselves for the small things that are going to be coming. Don't take me as being all high and mighty. I want you guys to see what's happening. Eggs have gone up in price. Milk has gone up in price. At least in my area. My stores are shutting down hand over fist. People here during the toilet paper crisis, and I put this in quotations, were fist fighting over daggum toilet paper at the Walmart. You can prevent a lot of this if you take small precautions now. And like I said, guys, I may sound super excited about this. I'm just extremely passionate because I love you guys enough to try to tell you what I've seen around the world. I've seen in other countries. I see slowly happening here. I don't want to see my brethren and my sisters go through what I've seen. It's not a pretty picture. And if we all act like a bunch of ostriches and put our heads in the sand, the Reaper's going to come by and just chop off our heads and let our bodies lay there. We need to be prepared as people, as neighbors, as friends, as family. Stick together. If you can grow your own food, that means you can learn to can and preserve your own food. If you can and preserve your own food, that means you can start slowly saving and stacking your own precious metals. If you can start saving and stacking your own precious metals, that means you don't have to stress as much what happens if the stores start running out of food because people go crazy. The first thing people do is start buying long-term shelf life foods. You don't have to rush to the stores and worry about it if you've already got it. Precious metals sit back, your food supply sits back, and you sit back and you keep you and your family out of the harm's way because you don't have to go to these stores to get stuff. Guys, like I said, I wouldn't be saying something like this if I didn't see it coming. I've talked to the older generations who's lived this. I've been into the other countries and seen this. It's not pretty. Right now, we are living on borrowed time economically. There's an old saying that I've heard my entire life. Sooner or later, your chickens are going to come home to roost. And when they do, they're going to lay their eggs. So you better have the nesting box ready. Otherwise, when those eggs are laid, they're going to hit the ground and just break. Guys, I love you enough to try to at least say how I feel about things. I want you all to be prepared in some way, shape, or form. Your metals, your food, your family. Those things right there, that's what's going to get you through a lot of our hard times. Your faith will get you through it more than anything, I hope. But you need to focus on your food, your family, your metals. Don't worry about the world doing what it's doing. The world will take care of itself sooner or later. But you have to look after your own. And once yours is taken care of, then you can worry about everybody else. Anyway, I'm just rambling on now, guys. I apologize. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you don't like it, hit the don't like button. But like I always say, please tell me why you at least hit the dislike button. Also, there's a few things in the description. My personal email, if you want to talk to me. A lot of you have actually done so. That's awesome, and I greatly appreciate it. I've learned a lot through that, by the way. Another thing is, there's a lot of channels down there that I listen to, guys. Fred Gar, Silver 5150, Miss Anna T. By the way, that one, my daughter loves that woman's shows. Says she's got a lot of beautiful coins on there. You got AG Skyflyer who's on there. You've got X-Pac Stacker. And there's just a few other ones on there, guys. Check them out. Anyway, catch y'all later. Heading on into work. Bye.